So, because the SBL player base has changed so much over the years, because we've been running this league for so long at this point, and most of the people in the league weren't around for his ascent to stardom, I don't think people realize just how insanely dominant Thrifty Senpai was in his prime. I mean, this was a kid who, when he first, in the very first split of the SBL, was just some gold scrub. And not even a year later, he hops on a TeamSpeak one day, and he says those fateful words, "Yo guys, I had a tryout with Team Coast, the LCS team today." And that was kind of the point for me where it became real. Like, this guy was more than just the best player I knew. This guy was a transcendent talent in League of Legends. And the way he would play people in the SBL in that time, I mean, it would not matter what the matchup was, it would not matter who his jungler was, how much he got ganked, what the wards were. Just every game, it'd be 10 minutes, he'd be up 40 CS on his opponent, and he would solo carry team fights. I mean, double-digit kills, 1 or 2 deaths weren't just the expectation, they were the norm for him. And they would happen every single game without fail. Nobody in SBL history has been close to as good as Thrifty Senpai was in his prime. But just because he's not still at that level doesn't mean he still won't show us glimpses of what he can do with that raw talent. And he is the one that chooses to grace the rest of us SBL shitters with that stopping when he shows up.
Of a boy who believed that whatever he dreamed he would come to achieve, but never in his life did he dream he could be an inspiration to those who came after he.
Senpai, you know, every offseason people start having the same questions about him. Oh, he hasn't been playing a lot lately. I don't know if his heart's really in it, if he's gonna come back and be playing good league. And people always ask themselves that shit. And you know what happens? 3 weeks before the SBL draft, he starts playing a ton. He gets drafted, he gets back to Diamond shortly after. He's back in form by week 2 or week 3 of the SBL, and he's one of the best players in the league by the end. Thrifty, the most impressive thing about him is that regardless of who is on his team, he will drag them as far as possible. Like, we have seen him on some bad teams, obviously last season was not a great team. It doesn't matter, Thrifty Senpai still manages to put so much of an impact on the map, and unlike some of the other star players in this league, he will actually try to set his teammates up for success. He will make so many sacrifices within the game to make his teammates better. Sometimes that's a problem, but there's also times where that wins his team's game. Super talented individually, still a step above all the other mid laners that are trying to compete for that throne of his. And regardless of how worried you are in the offseason about whether he's practicing enough, Thrifty's a guy who's shown too many seasons in a row that he can always regain that dominant form by the time the season starts, that there is no reason anyone should count him out.
When I think about Thrifty Senpai, I think about his persona, and he's a very level-headed player. He's very direct, so he'll tell you exactly like what he needs you to do, when you need to do it. I think sometimes you just have to have the sense to ask him, and I think in the 2 seasons I played with him, he was very patient with me, because I definitely had a lot of questions, and he was always willing to answer them. He never made me feel like a dumbass for asking that question. Like, I think if anything, he was like, oh, I'm glad that this guy doesn't know this, and he's asking, instead of just doing the wrong thing. So, I think that makes a really good team player. If you can make the rest of your team, especially your lower-ranked people, better at the game, especially in, like, really pressuring the situations, I think that makes you a really good player this game.
Thrifty Senpai almost was a professional elitist. Just let that sink in for a sec. And think about everyone that plays in the Swain bet. In that sentence alone, it gives Thrifty Senpai all of the value that he needs and deserves to be, you know, one of the top 50 in Swain bet in league history. He is an incredibly well-rounded player because he's not only selfish in the right moments, but he's also very selfless. He knows one of the golden rules of League of Legends, and he knows when it's time for other people to carry. the thing is, it's usually his time. He's usually the one doing the carry, and that's all right by him. And he will do it to the best of his abilities. And just to throw away all of the discussion about his mechanical ability, there is his macro game, his shot calling, his leadership. He knows the game inside and out. I mean, he really does. He really knows the little things too, the little oddball tips and tricks and idiosyncrasies of lane matchups. He will know it. And that's something that any great player should have, and that's
so I really feel that Thrifty has always been the best player in the SBL, like by far. Like, this guy has literally the whole package. He is strong mechanical player. He's the person who reached the highest elo out of anybody ever at his peak, and he is a great shot caller. And not only is he a great shot caller, but he's a shot caller that you want to play for. So like, you may have qualms with other shot callers, and I really feel like there's two shot callers in this league that like really make you want to win on their team, and Thrifty Senpai definitely is one of those two.
Thrifty Senpai has made me a better player. He's helped my mentality. He's helped me, I don't want to say overcome tilting, but he's certainly helped me control it and understand where it's coming from and how to move forward when you start going on tilt. So that is why I fucking love Thrifty Senpai.
I remember sitting up like super late one night, like 3 o'clock, probably on a Tuesday after the SBL, and just upset and complaining like, dude, I suck this season. I don't know what happened, but I just can't. Like, I just wanted the magic of Salt Shaker to happen again, and I thought it would work even better on 2K2S because no one respected our bot lane, so it should work even better, right? But for whatever reason, the teleport ward would time out, or bottom lane would be chunked to half, or the enemy jungler would be down there, or whatever multitude of reasons. It never worked. It never worked. And I was so frustrated because I was like sitting on my teleport for like the first 20 minutes of this game, waiting for this teleport gank to work, and it just like never happened. And I was super upset that like I'm giving up all these levels and XP because I want to play the game the way I thought it was right, and I was just so mad about my performance and like how much I sucked, and he just sat there and he listened to me for like an hour. Like, I think we logged off at like 4:30. I was just distraught with how shitty I was playing and how I thought I had all this metagame figured out in my head, and it just wasn't working. And the next week, like, the first opportunity he had, he went and ganked top. It turned into like a 2v2 with the enemy jungler in top lane. And so it turned into a shit show, and I got the kill, and he died. And it wasn't like, holy shit, I just sacrificed like 20 farm mid, and now whoever's caught up, and I'm so boned because of this. He was just like, good job, Sketch. And that's when I realized Alice doesn't play this game for like his own reputation or the glory. He plays it for the friendships in this league, and that's something truly to appreciate. Congratulations on being number 1 on the top 15, Alice. AKA Thrifty Senpai, AKA Tim. Cause his mama felt this was the best way to keep him out of the streets, although they was penniless. Only child, so she didn't want an empty nest, and it's a healthier addiction than cigarettes. And so it began. How did he escape the scene? He sat in front of that screen and chased the